Okay, so today I'll be making some meat pies. So we're gonna start off by cutting up some carrots because I want to cook these inside the mince that I'm gonna put in the pies. So just make sure you cut them into very small pieces. So in my mince, I basically just put in garlic and your preferred spices, and now you're gonna put in the not tomatoes, but carrots that you cut up. I actually put in potatoes as well, but I didn't put in that video rather, of me cutting the potatoes. But yeah, so now we're just gonna make the dough. I already put in a self-raising flour, sugar, I love using brown sugar, and baking powder. Then of course 1 tablespoon of salt to taste. Then you're just gonna mix everything together. Okay, so now I'm putting in unsalted butter. It's not melted, it's straight out of the refrigerator basically. So now you're just gonna mix everything and just make sure that your hands are clean for this step. You need to make sure that your hands are very clean because you might be cooking for other people. Even if you're just cooking for yourself, just make sure your hands are clean. So you just keep mixing everything until it becomes I'm not sure if you noticed that it was white. So you have to keep mixing until it becomes yellow. You see how it looks like breadcrumbs now? So you keep mixing it until it becomes yellow. So now I'm just gonna make a hole in the middle of the, I don't know what you call that, but yeah, you're gonna make a hole in the middle so I can put in my eggs. You can choose to break your eggs in a separate container, then mix everything in later, but I prefer it this way. It's just easier and it's quicker. Alright, so now you're just gonna mix everything again. You're just gonna keep mixing it until it becomes not thick, but yeah, like that. And then you pour in some milk. I love making mine with milk, but you can use water. You can use warm water, not hot, but warm water if you don't have milk at home. So now you're just gonna keep mixing everything together basically. So now I'm adding a bit of flour because it's too sticky and you don't want your dough to be sticky. It shouldn't be sticking to your hands. Yeah, so that's why I added a bit of flour. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put some flour on the counter so I can not knead, but yeah, you shouldn't really knead your dough because it's not like you're making pizza dough. You shouldn't really knead it. You just do it the same way you would do cookies. So now I'm gonna put it in some wrap and refrigerate it for 30 minutes. Okay, so I love cheese, so everything of mine needs to have cheese. So now this is for the pie as well. So I left the dough in the fridge for like 30 minutes just so that the butter that I used can be hard again. Otherwise it was just gonna melt. That's why you have to refrigerate it for at least 30 minutes. Okay, so now I'm just cutting it up into smaller pieces. I'm just gonna make 4 pies, so I'm gonna cut it into 4 pieces and make them balls because it's easier to flatten them when you make them into balls. Okay, so now I'm just flattening them. So you can make whatever shape you want. So I prefer just making the normal shape. So now I'm just cutting off the edges because I want it to be round so that when I put everything inside you can fold it properly. But you're free to make whatever shape you want. I just prefer mine this way. So now you're gonna put the mince. You need to make sure that the mince is cold. Like once you've cooked everything, you can only put it in once it's cold already, because if you put it in while it's hot, it's gonna make the dough become too soft. So that kind of defeats the purpose. So make sure the mince is cold first before putting it on your dough. Yeah, and put cheese if you want. I love a lot of cheese, so I don't know if you can see that my dough, I made it a bit thick. Because I love when I'm eating pie, it should be a bit thick. That way I get full very quick. That's why it's a bit thick, but I'm not sure you can see it in this video, but I made it quite thick because I want to be satisfied when I'm eating it. Okay, so now you're just gonna close it up. Now you see why I said I preferred them round. It's because of this, so that I can turn it or fold it properly. Okay, now I'm just gonna finish it off with a fork, just to make sure it doesn't open now when I put it in the oven. You see now how it looks. Okay, so I've done all 4 of them, and this is how they look. Okay, so what's in that yellow thing, or in the white plate, it's eggs. It's eggs, so you're just gonna put egg wash on top of your pies to make sure that they don't burn or they don't overcook while they're in the oven, because if you don't put egg wash, they might burn on top and then under they are not cooked. So when you put egg wash, it actually prevents that from happening, so that the whole pie can just cook at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, just put egg wash on your pie. Just do it. Okay, so yeah, that should be it. That should be enough egg wash. So now I'm gonna stick them with a fork just for air to come inside, so that when I put them inside the oven, the cheese doesn't because sometimes when I make pies, the cheese comes out like from the corners. So to prevent that, I like making in some holes, just for, I don't want to say air, but yeah, you can stick the holes in with your fork. And this is how they look before I put them in the oven. Yes, now you're gonna put them in the oven for 30 minutes. And we're done. It didn't even take longer than 30 minutes. Bye bye.